Hey, you're now tuned in to Underdog Talk. I'm your host, Eric Jones Jr., the underdog with the heroic heart, and I have conversations with successful underdogs. And today I have Miss Natalie, how you say your last name?
Pipkin.
Pipkin, not Pippin, but Pipkin.
Yep. Pipkin.
Yes. And how are you doing today?
You know what? It's been a busy Monday, but I'm feeling good right now. Feeling relaxed.
That's good. I don't know. My stomach was hurt. You asked if I was sick. No, it's bathroom situation. And just I was like, oh my goodness. I know that's a little TMI, but
yeah, she gonna edit that.
nah, we keep it on. I don't really care. To let people know that my stomach was hurting earlier. But yeah,
and that's evidence of my stomach start hurting, then we know what's up. So that's good. That's good. Yeah, that's right. Keep that.
I don't know about that. I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna keep it moving. But yeah, I got some sleep though. I really got some sleep. I took a nap, so I'm good. So before we get into today's conversation, today's episode is brought to you by Christian Dewan. That's my clothing line. You can get t-shirts, hoodies, hats, sweatshirts, and we just dropped the Underdog Talk merch. So we got t-shirts and then a hoodie, and we got a hat coming. I just don't know how to put it up there. I don't know. Something I put it on the thing. It says it's on there, but when I go to the store, it's not there. But I got hats. Use the promo code Underdog Talk, and if you're listening, Underdog is spelled UNDDAWG Talk, and you get 15% off. So in Indianapolis, I look for people that are successful underdogs, and it doesn't really mean success is all kinds of different things. And I was looking around, and I follow your business page, and I was like, man, this person is really dope, like what she's doing. So my first question is, or my only question is, how does it feel to have the responsibility of changing generations?
Like you mean just
so I read, I know a little bit about your story, and you said that you did something different than all the generations before. Now you started something different that you can pass along. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel like having that responsibility of keeping that going and not just having it with your children, but your children passing it along to others, to change the generational, not necessarily curse of education, but
trajectory.
Yeah. Of how they have it.
Man, I mean, it sounds as heavy as you just made it sound. It's heavy and it's beautiful and it's real. So what I do, all that it's an extension of my life. It's extension. This is not just a business, not hobby. I've done hobbies. I used to be the cheesecake person back in the day, like in 2010. I used to do, I used to be a baker, I used to do wedding, it's all kind of things. I had a lot of hobbies. This is different. And you hit the nail on the head. So it's been everything that you can imagine it could be, right? I mean, just the awakening of that, to even come to that decision, the reality of how that makes others feel, the reality of how the feelings and emotions I have to deal, and the reality of birthing a dream. It feels like real life childbirth. So all those things, when you're birthing something, how beautiful it feels, how excited you get, how some pain, some moments of if we're gonna make it, like all those things. And not just, I'm not talking about just my business, just like you said, all the decisions that I'm making, and that all the things God is doing within me to change things up. It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's beautiful at the same time. It can be all those things.
So I love that answer, because you said it's a lot, but you're handling it. And what we're talking about is homeschooling. And she is the founder of Black Worldschoolers, and she has her own mobile store. And the mobile bookstore, and the books look like us. And if you're listening, and if you're not Black or brown, we're not talking about you, we're talking about us. And because if you think about when you're in school, I'm 36, so going back in school, and it's like, man, you don't really remember books that was of us. The first book I remember that I read that was like, that wasn't like a sports or the pimp book that was out back in the day was Antoine Fisher. And that was like in high school. And it's like, dang, it took all the way to high school to actually like read a book about somebody that looked like me. So I love that. Like when I seen that, I was like, man, that's dope. That because I took my son to a black event. There was a bunch of different books, and they're all black people.
Now, how old is your son?
8.
Okay.
So I was like, that was dope. And when I seen your thing, and I was like, I think you had an event, and I think I already had something, or he might have had basketball. So what I know the answer because I read it, and when I read up on you, what was the reason that you started homeschool?
Man, there's so many reasons. So I have to pick what I'm gonna talk about today. I'm gonna
see if you pick the one that I think you're gonna say.
Yeah. So, I mean, this was a collective decision. Sometimes people think of like, oh, you pull your kid out of school. No, like they tapped me on the shoulder and we left together. And what happened was there were so many things. There's so many reasons why I should have, right? And probably reasons why my mama should have or her mama should have, but we just do all we know to do, right? And it was one day, it was my youngest son, actually, Nathan. He was 5 years old. He only went to school for 1 year. You're going to hear why. Kindergarten. And it was probably, I think it was like after Columbus Day. And whatever the subject is, the holiday, whatever's happening at school, we're talking about it at home. We're usually on the car ride home. And now, you have to tell them the real, like, yeah, that ain't how it really went down. And they already know that, so they bring it to the car. They're like, Mama, they said, you have the real conversation. Just like my mama did me, her mama did her, and so on. But that's what we do as Black folks. We know that we're going to come into these institutions. They're going to give us whatever
little information,
or wrong information, or miseducation, and then we have to go home and say what's the real. And so anyway, we did that, and I think it was after Columbus Day or whatever. And he said, 5 years old, he said, Mama, if they're always lying to us, why do you keep sending us back here? And I usually have all the, not all the answers. We can discuss a lot of things. I was just like, my face is on the floor. I'm like, I don't even know, right? And it took months, 8-9 months for me to really think about that and for us to discuss another way. And that's how we got into the exodus from the school system. Particularly, it was a private school, honestly, and started homeschooling and realized there's a whole global Black community of homeschoolers have been taking this exodus. So we're definitely not alone in this.
Yeah, so that was the answer that I was hoping for, because that's dope that your son like, hey, you sent me to this spot that
Why
ain't talking about nothing you talk about at home, but you want me to keep going back here? No, I'm good. What else can we do? Like, how else can we
is this how you want me to start my?
And see, I think back in the day why it didn't happen, because we couldn't come to our parents like that. Like, hey.
Oh, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. Like, hey, Mom, I don't think this school that you sending me to it. Boy, if you don't get out my. And it's like, hold on.
He's saying, like, Mom, basically saying this is not smart. He's saying this is insanity. And so I get you. That's what a parent be like, what you just call me? They wouldn't even think about what you're saying. They're like, what did you just say to me?
And that's why I don't know if we necessarily new age, but we still got some of our parents in us, but we got some of the new age thoughts, like, let your kids talk, let them express themselves, let them tell you how they feeling. Like, hey, this don't make sense to me that you teach us all this good stuff at home, but then we go here and they talking about something and it like that makes sense. Like, so that's dope. Shout out to your son that did that, because that took some courage, like to go to your mom, like, hey Mom, how's it going? You good today? Need your feet rubbed? Let me talk to you about something.
Oh my gosh. But the other side of that is, while that was real to them, they also had experienced what for themselves as well, but just how Black children were treated in that school. And also, this is not particularly this one school, this is what's happening everywhere and been happening, right? So there was a part of them also was like, dang, like we can go and do this thing a new way and have this better experience. But what about everybody inside? And that was our conversation throughout those months too. Like, okay, this feels okay. It feels like it'd be something, but I also feel like, dang, like I'm not trying to leave these other children feeling like they leave each other behind. To be advocates, they were being advocates for their friends. We were having conversations. I was having parents at my house having conversations of all races of like, hey, this, we did many things before we, you know what I mean? But the reality was I realized that I was putting my energy in trying to change something that I was going to somebody's house, someone rearrange their furniture. And that's not what you do.
Yeah.
You build your own house.
Yeah.
And and also in that it was I could be louder outside. It's only you can get so loud when you're right in it.
Yeah.
But when you're out of it, hey, you don't like what I'm saying? Turn the music down. You know what I mean? Turn it down.
Yeah.
So that's really how, we when we left, I started a blog. So that kind of like, and it was dedicated. And it's still out there. It's old, but it says dedicated to the Black children that are inside the classrooms and outside the curriculum. We love you. We see you. Welcome home. So that was that was for me to say like, yes, we're doing this, but I see you and I'm with you, and whatever we're doing, we're gonna share it with you, because you can do it at home too. Maybe not gonna do it at home during the hours we're doing it, but after school, weekends, or just whatever the case may be, or give you the courage to make some different decisions, or to stand up where you're at and make them make some different decisions. So the blog was dedicated to Black children who were inside the classrooms, outside the curriculum, and from that, probably the next day I made an Instagram page. Instagram page is just showing us, leaving and just kind of this developing what this is. We had no idea what we were going to do. We were just doing it. And so we were just sharing that and then connecting with other families who were doing it as well. And that's how the Instagram page got started. And that's what we used it for. And it was not just for homeschoolers or just for Black homeschoolers, for educators all over. Like there were teachers on there and parents and all kind of people we were all learning from each other. And we were providing the resources that we were using, we were sharing online. But when pandemic hit, that's when things really started changing. I was like, okay, I was getting calls from people who are in school, like, we're kind of about to homeschool. How do you do this, right? Yeah. Some people before had called me just like out of my mind for even doing this. Now they're like, how do you do it? You know, that's how it usually.
They didn't know the pandemic was going to happen.
That's how the Underdawg thing works, right?
Yeah.
First, they say, what are you doing? Then they ask you, how do you do it?
Yeah.
Right. So, so during that time, what we did was we created a website, and it was the same website we have now, but it wasn't books. It was just blackworldschoolers.com. And a lot of like the online resources that we were using, it wasn't we couldn't provide everything we were using. Some stuff was just, but online resources, everything was like free online resources, affirmation. Those things are still on there. Affirmation.
Yeah, I just actually took one off and sent it to my kid's mom to send to read to them. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. Affirmations. We have TED Talks and TED Eds, which are cartoon versions of TED Talks that are shorter, that are all from Black people, Black history, Black stories. All those are curated on that site, and that's what we did. And along with that, we also started a storytime hotline right when the pandemic hit. So as soon as they said kids had to go home, we were thinking like, what can we do to engage them while they're at home? Because, the reality of being in school is that children are used to learning with someone in front of them.
Yeah.
And so you send them home. Unfortunately, they didn't prepare them to take on a task of learning, being self-directed learners. Yeah. Being able to say, what do I want? What I want for me. I mean, we're doing it for the test, or doing it for the grade, or doing it for the teacher, but I want children to do it for them. Like, because I want to be great. What I mean? I want to, and so, or not even having the resources. You might not have books at home, might not have, you know what I mean? So we were trying to think of like, what can we provide? And of course, there are many people in the community that began to do that as well. We were just one section doing a little something, right? But we started a storytime hotline, which is an 800 number that we
those were good numbers back in the day.
Yeah, but sometimes we used to call weather. Remember, we used to call a weather line. Remember that? We used to call 47 for the music videos, the box. We used to call them one time. So it was a number, and you call and you press 1 to hear a story, a Black story, usually by the author that was written by. 2, like to hear like a quote of the day, and like 3 was like a fact or something like that. And that was going from like March all the way until December 2020 when we launched the online bookstore. So yeah, between that time, like things were happening. I didn't know in March that I was going to open a bookstore. I didn't know in April, May. I didn't know all these things.
None of this. You just was homeschooling. So how was your kids as students, and how was it for them having you be their teacher?
How were they as students?
Yeah.
Oh, they did everything they were supposed to do.
So were they like, because I always wonder, like, are your kids going to be the students they would be in school, or would they be a little different because, you know, mom or dad ain't going to play, but you're a teacher, so you can't kind of be mom or dad, but you still kind of mom and dad because you're like, hold on, what, you know, what's going on? So how did that like go at first?
That is like a whole other conversation. So I'm trying to make it real short. No, but for real, because the parent-child relationship is so different with the pressure of school.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a freedom in being able to, because you know how it is. It's a top-down thing. As Black people, before you even enter, there's a fear.
Yeah.
You got to do this, be straight. They don't have to do nothing wrong, for we already prepping them.
Yeah.
We prep them, and they ain't even done nothing, right? They ain't done nothing. So like they're usually performing out of fear. Even if they're doing great, it's still fear-based. And our parenting is fear-based because of we're afraid, right? So like our relationships oftentimes, this is being real, are unhealthy because of that top-down power and stress on the parent and the parent on the child. And then it's not a normal relationship. You know, that's not how it's meant to be. True. I don't think it's meant to be like that. So really coming home is like recalibrating, deschooling, like getting out of like, how do I want to be in a relationship with you? I'm not your teacher. Actually, we're learning alongside each other. Nobody in this whole world knows everything. Your teacher don't know everything. Most of them have a key. Yeah. Like they're checking your work. And I'm not saying they're not educated. I'm saying that we all have to learn. I'm educated,
so we educated.
I didn't cut you. No, you're fine. No, but for real, it's just the reality that no one knows everything. Mm-hmm. We all have something to learn. So I don't come to them with that power of everything I say you got to do. Like, what we're learning together, we're exploring together. There's things, of course, that I know they don't know, but there are things that they know. And that's you can say that as an educator that your like students
like, hold on,
right?
Okay, I learned something new today.
Or they explore an area you would never touch. They're like, I'm like, oh, I would never, you know what I'm saying? So I think that there's a period of time. I mean, pandemic didn't allow this for people to come home and then kind of like figure out all that stuff. No, it was like, come home, you have to pick up where they left off. That wasn't homeschooling. That was panic schooling. Like that straight up. But it wasn't nobody. It was nobody's fault. It was just reality. You know what I mean? It was just reality. And we made it through, right? But the other side, if someone's really considering homeschooling, there's a period of time where you have to really decide why you're doing it. Why are you doing what you're doing, right? And I think for us, because they wanted to be home. It wasn't like you getting out here, come on. You know what I mean? That's different too, because can you imagine having to come home? You didn't want to? Yeah. That's a different experience too. So I think that it's like you said at the beginning, like those conversations with our children make a difference. Yeah. So I think that definitely makes a difference, but they're still children and we ain't gonna always agree, right? Yeah, but the reality is this is life. You know what I mean? And we don't have a school calendar and 180 days. We have 355 days and 24 hours a day to get it right. You know what I'm saying? With each other, with learning, with life. And that's I guess that sums it up.
Yeah, I like that you said you guys are learning together. You're a team. Like sometimes I'm a first year teacher, so I'm a team with the co-teacher, and then I'm a team because I'm a kindergartner. Like it's all of us learning together. I'm learning how to teach them as they learning how to get this stuff and like different ways to do it. Or she could be like, oh, this is how you do it. Because it's definitely about who you are as a person to like teach the kids. Sometimes people, oh, I got these degrees and I got this and that. It's like, that don't matter because kids go off of how they can relate to you. If they can relate to you, if you can have a conversation with them, then you can discipline them or you can correct them without them having a whole big old hissy fit or whatever. Like, so I definitely understand the school part of it, like being in the school and not having an education. Like, I don't like schools because like it's about to be Black History. No, I'm saying like around.
Look, he said it. I didn't say it.
Around Black History Month, like it's the same old people. Everybody that's Black that's doing something positive is Black History. Like we gotta stop going back to the same 5 people that we've been doing every year. Like, okay, we get it. We understand Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, but there's more people. You're Black History. Like, there's dope Black people, and we got to celebrate all of us, and we don't do that. We celebrate the same people, or they put I remember in school, I think they put a little video on at the beginning of the day. That was it. Like, they don't teach that. And so how do we know about ourselves? Or really, do we know is the history that they teach us, is it real? It's not. But, you know, you go to school and you accept it and they say, oh, go to school, get your college degree. And it's like, but then you talking about Black power and all this stuff, but you got me going to these institutions that really don't explain that. And I'm just being, it just really resonate. I mean, hopefully I don't get in trouble, but it just makes sense. No, we ain't gonna edit it out because this is my platform, so I can
but all that is real, and the thing is too, because we don't know and I must say I mean institutions, people in general, we don't really take time to know why we do what we do. Sometimes we don't do Black History Month, right? Because we don't even know why it was created. We know some people still don't. I mean, there's adults who still are like, oh, I didn't know who created it. You know,
or even Juneteenth.
Yeah. So like Carter G. Woodson created. He didn't create it for everybody to cram everything you can into 1 month and learn as much as you can, so you can show how many memes you can make. like for real. Like at the end of the day, it was created to celebrate what you learned all year.
Yeah.
He's like, they're not teaching this all year long. They're not showing this. So I'm going to give you a week at first to celebrate all that I want you to learn all year long. But here we are, how many years later, you know, cramming all we supposed to have learned in 28 days. And that's not what it was meant for. So like all the disses toward like, we shouldn't even have it. Why we got this short time? It wasn't meant for you to just be learning your history that way. He didn't create it for you to learn your history in 28 days. He created it so that people would learn all year long and celebrate during those.
If you really think about it, you don't hear nothing. Now, February is Wednesday, you're going to hear a whole bunch of Black, you're going to see the memes and all that. But if we really cared, if we really was in tune like that, it'd be every day somebody. I mean, you have people that do that, but I'm talking about a collective. We about to see a whole bunch of everybody that sells stuff about to be Black History Month, this, that, everything, all that. Not stores, they trying to get into the vibe and all that. It's like, we got to do it every day, all the time, 365. Like we just had another big, and this is the crazy part, it was us that did it in Memphis. The killing. Oh. Like, and it's like, dang, you know.
There was an extra cop. We saw that.
Yeah, it was, we hope the extra cop they kind of ain't saying nothing about Buddy. Right. They didn't put him in the back pocket. But it's like, now are we killing ourselves? Because it's not the street violence, it's the police violence. And it's like, dang, we dealing with this and we're going into, you know, Black History Month and now everything gonna change. No, it's not gonna change. We gotta be a collective. And I mean, I could, you know, throw a rant on it all day, but I think I don't try to get into it because we're not consistent with it. We're consistent for those 28 days. And after those 28 days, you don't hear about people talk about Black history.
Well, that's going back to what we just talked about. And even that situation, which is a whole nother topic, right? Yeah. But we're talking about, and let's get back to Carter G. Woodson, the miseducation of a Negro. That's all you're talking about. The practice of celebrating ourselves is nice. Wearing a t-shirt is nice, but the reality of being brainwashed is real too. Yeah. The reality of being educated by white institutions is real. The reality of fear of bucking those systems is real. And I think that it's not. We don't even realize that we're doing that. And also, like, life is real. There's so many other things happening, right? So many other things happening that somebody's like, how can I do all of these things? And that's why we exist, right? Yeah. Because sometimes it can be overwhelming. People make you feel like you got to know every piece of history to be Black, right? Or that you got to prove how much you know every day. And the reality is, we need stories that shift our way of thinking and the way we see ourselves and the way we see each other. Even if it was just one story, you don't need to know everybody's birth date and death date to you. That's why we're here. Yeah. Because we're doing what we've been wrote memorization. We're learning facts and all these feel good things that they're not changing how we are seeing ourselves and seeing. Not for everybody, but I'm just saying generally, you know, and that is why I exist. I want to, you see, I have a small space. I have all these things. I don't want to overwhelm you with stories or knowledge or whatever the case. I want you to find stories and read stories, right? That will change your life. That will, and of course, get you excited about reading. You want to read more and more and more, but we're in the information age and it's overwhelming. Yeah. Like it's overwhelming. It's like there's a point where you wouldn't get information and now you got too much information.
You can go to YouTube and and learn anything. Like YouTube University can get you far, but like you said, like with the books, like you want kids. Like I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a reader.
Yeah.
Like I read certain books, but I'm not a reader.
But you like story. That's why you have me here. Yeah. You like stories.
Yeah.
And that's, you see on our bus, it says sharing our stories, shaping our world. Yes, the stories come in the form of books, but I'm not here to say everybody come through my bus, all the children gonna know how to read. That's not what I need you to know stories.
Yeah.
That you, even if somebody's reading them to you, we should still be reading to children. Yeah. Reading to children is not limited to kindergarten, circle time, right?
Yeah.
I have 13-year-old, 10-year-old. We still read aloud at night, right?
Yeah.
We listen to podcasts. Yeah. We like being read to.
Yeah.
So we need stories. However we're gonna get them, they're gonna read them. If they're gonna come on the bus and I'm gonna read it to them.
Yeah.
Or if the parents reading it to them. Or we're going to introduce them to people from just the covers. They might not even sit on the bus. Look, this is so and so. So I can still teach you while you're walking through the bus. Like there's so many opportunities. There's pictorial literacy. There's people. There's an author, Jerry Pipkin. He passed away last year, the year before. He actually had a book come out last week about his memoir about his life. And he wrote and authored and illustrated over 100 books, but he was not a reader. Mm-hmm. He actually had a learning disability. Mm-hmm. He during that time, they didn't know how to name it, but he was an excellent artist, even as a child. So he would be in class drawing what people were saying or like whatever they were storytelling, he was drawing it. And there's so many ways I'm saying to engage in literacy. So you don't have to be a reader. To enjoy stories.
I like writing stories. I like telling,
and that's literacy, right?
And I like telling stories
because that's your roots.
Yeah, I think I'm a great storyteller. And like even you have to learn. Like one of the best storytellers are comedians. Like if you really look at them and they telling you the story, they walking you through it. So I love that what you said about the stories. So what made you name it what you named it?
That was a name when we started homeschooling and. I think we were in Philadelphia. I remember we were still in the school, but we had like 2 months left before summer. We were going to leave the homeschool, and we were thinking about like, when we get out, we're going to travel more. We were kind of in that vibe, and I remember we were driving like down the street. It was late at night, and I remember there's like a park full of children. It was Philadelphia. West Philadelphia.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, and it was lights. Street lights were on, and my kids were like, you're gonna see the Indiana. You ain't gonna see nobody on, a packed park with the lights on. And they were like, and my older son, he was 8 or 9, I think he was 8. He's like, Mom, they look so free, and I was like, oh, that's what I'm doing. Raise some free Black children, and like. In my mind, the name Black Worldschoolers came up because worldschooling is a form of homeschooling. Worldschooling is like traveling and learning. Mm-hmm. But for me, it was like the name came for positively shaping how Black children see themselves in the world. That's where the name came from. So of course it was about traveling and learning, but also just like even if you step outside your own backyard and you're not going overseas or whatever, the world is yours. You know what I mean? The yard in front of you. If you go to a whole nother country or if you go to a whole nother state, like. You are a citizen of the world. Like the world is yours. Like, and you need to see yourself as that in a positive way. So that's really how that name came about. And we just kept it because that was our platform originally, and it just made sense. It connected to us. It connected with other people already, and so we just added the bookstore to the end of that.
So that was. I don't want to sound mean, but are you from Philly?
No.
You from here?
Yeah.
Okay, so. We do play basketball late at night. You're not going to.
Did I say basketball?
You said kids at the park.
Yeah.
Now
they were literally like sliding down slides. So
are you talking about nowadays, or are you talking about in general?
I'm talking. You said basketball. Now.
Okay. Kids at the park in general, or nowadays?
Kids playing like that. Like it's 2:00 in the afternoon, sliding down slides, swinging, playing tag.
We used to do that.
I'm the same age as you are. Do you see that right now? I said this was 3-4 years ago.
Okay, so you're talking about now. Okay. I thought you was coming for Indiana. Okay.
No.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Yep.
But I like that that you said like the world is yours. Like everybody doesn't realize it don't matter what you do. Like when we have a videographer, you have you're a homeschooler, you have a mobile bookstore, I'm a podcaster, I'm an educator. We all have different things and we all learn a different way for ourselves. So it's not where you have to learn the same thing as you. Like your backyard is gonna look different than my backyard, or even if we could be brother and sister or related, when I step out in the backyard, it's different for me than it is you, and that's dope because sometimes we limit ourselves, like especially as Black people, we grow up in a trap, and the trap has our mind on a certain place. But you could read a book about somebody that looks like you, and they went on a journey, and you like, wow, I could do that.
So pause. So you said we're in a trap. Who made the trap, right? How are we so trapped, right? And you said if a book can take us to another world, where are the books at? You said you didn't see none of those books. So it's intentional to prevent us from having access to our imagination, because books spark your imagination, right? It's not always about having all this history and being able to spout it out. It's about having an imagination too.
Wonder if we should put a disclaimer. Like, I don't know. A lot of people might not like this one.
I didn't say nothing.
Yeah. Oh, she didn't say.
But listen, I did. I said whatever, but I don't work for no school.
Hey, you didn't have to bring that back. You just bring that right back up. Keep on saying, glad I ain't got no badge or nothing.
I mean, anyways. I am.
No, I mean, that's just me.
There's no strings attached.
And I think a lot of times, like, young people, they're curious, and when they're curious and the only thing they pick up is something that don't look like them, or if the person that's educating them don't look like them and it's not connected, they're not going to be able to get that connection that they need. And I see that, like, they be like, how do kids connect with you? I look like them. That's it. I look like them, and they gonna come up to me before they might come up to.
But you not just look like them; you talk like them.
Yeah,
you're not. You know what I mean? You talk like them. You probably dress like them.
Yeah,
you are. The culture is relevant. Yeah. Because we all know all skin folk. We already know that rule.
Yeah.
So you can, I had, at this point and you can look back even your favorite teachers, because sometimes we even get caught up in, if we just have Black teachers. It's a mindset.
Yeah.
I had two of my most memorable teachers were not Black.
Yeah.
But they had a mindset to give space for Black folks to be Black, for Black children to know about themselves.
I had a Black teacher, and I was talking to somebody about it. She was mean as hell. No, listen.
He is gonna have to put a disclaimer.
If you came in her class and you was musty, she calling you out. She, girlfriend, I know you ain't coming in my class musty. Or if you was like, and I'm like, when you really look back on that was so negative to embarrass somebody in front of the whole class because maybe their parents couldn't afford it. When now that I'm an educator, I'm like, I would never do that. Like, I can't. Never mind, because I'm a teacher and I don't want nobody to be like, oh yeah. But
so you need
teachers that can relate and look like, not just teachers that are Black, because everybody that's Black don't. Or I hate that people be like, you gotta wear a suit. You ain't gotta wear no suit. You don't gotta dress up clean. I get it. You want to look all nice, all that. But kids don't want to see that. They want to see somebody that look closer to them, dressed, so they can be like, oh, look, what shoes you got on? Or be like, what are those? Like, kids want to be able to relate. Don't come in there with no suit and tie. Like, they ain't trying to see that. Like, it's not gonna work. Because I remember as a kid, my mom would put me in different stuff and they had on suit and tie. I'm like, bro, I don't care about. I don't even listen. I want everybody, this is recorded. When I die, anybody catch this, do not put me in no suit.
Cut it out. We are not doing the wheel right now.
No, do not put me in no suit. That's how much I don't like it. And there's a lot of kids that they don't relate to that. They ain't never put on a suit in their life.
Well, and also maybe it's what it represents. You can be this and that, right? You can be the one where you can wear the Jordans, also wear the suit and tie, right? One day or the next day.
True.
But I think what kids see is, and probably what they also feel is, this is somebody who wants to be in power over me. Because we think about presidents, we think about people in control and in power. And sometimes we put on that whole suit, not just the suit physically, but like that I'm in power.
Yeah. And
when you, like you said, when you're being you, they're like, it's more relatable because you don't feel like you're trying to be over them and in a power way.
In the same way, like, I don't have to put on no suit, but when I walk in the room, I'm powerful.
Respect.
When I walk in, the ground shake because I believe in myself and it ain't about how I look, it's about who I am and what comes out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids don't realize that, because sometimes your parents can't afford. I'm a parent, I get it, but I don't get it because I ain't never gonna let my child go out here looking busted and disgusted. He gonna look better than me. She gonna look better than me before I look better than me. Right. But like, as a kid, don't let the situation stop you because you don't look like everybody else or you don't have what everybody else. It's about who you are as a person. That's why I ask kids, who are you? And they don't know who they are. They just, oh, well, I'm a student. No, you more than that. Who are you as a person? Like, you gotta know who you are to get to where you want to go. And I'm sure you.
And those are the best teachers.
Yeah.
That know that in this space, that's what we have to call you, a scholar or a student. But I know you are a person, full range of emotions, dreams that you ain't, you know, we don't even know are there yet, imagination out of this world, and giving them space to have all that. You know, instead of putting in a box, oh, they have this emotion, then they must be they're gonna prison the pipeline. There's so many labels and so many, you know, they give them a path as soon as they say something or do something, or you know, and it's just the best. Now there's people who engage children who give them space to just be and figure it out. Just like as adults, we are just figuring it out. We got full range of emotions. We have all those same things, and we get so much more grace than the kids get. But
you gotta have kids. You gotta give them like you said, grace. We have a bad day. They can't have a bad day.
They need space to be human.
And I got a question because my son, he took a mental day. Now I understand, but could you imagine going to your mom back in the day, like, hey mom, hey, I need a mental day.
Mental health day?
Yeah, mental health day.
Did he say why?
He really, because his sister, which she's a senior, which I could get that. She got a lot going on. She took one. He was like, well, I need one. So he was able to, but it's like, I never would have thought to do that back in the day. But now as a parent and my mindset is different. It's like, it's needed to have a mental health day, like where you just don't do nothing. Because sometimes life will beat you up where you like, should I keep going or should I stop?
Right. No,
so, were there moments, not when you did the homeschooling, because I know that ain't going to stop because you're at the education for your kids, but as you started the bookstore, the mobile bookstore, have there been moments like, man, scrap this? Like, we just going to keep it at home. We just going to leave it at that. Or if it was moments, how did you get past those moments?
You know what? This is not that. Like, this is truly an extension of our life, right? And this is like, it's so important to me, and it always has been. If anything, I'm super protective of it, and I can be mama bear over it because I know that this is not like a novelty thing or something cute to do. Like, I'm on a mission, and like I know that even early on, like very early on. I mean, we started online. And as soon as money started coming in, I got a bus. You know what I mean? Found a bus. I'm like, what are you doing? There's only a few people who were like, I can see this. And I can count them on my hand. You know what I mean? And 4 of them lived in my house. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, 3 of them lived in my house. So like, I knew from the beginning, I could see it from the very beginning, and I knew what the impact would be, the reaction would be. I just knew all those things. So I've never wanted to quit doing it. Like it's been the response has been amazing. Even before the bus, we were just doing pop-up shops for that year and a half. It was exciting and amazing then. So we're really just getting started. Like the bus has only been going on for 7 months. So but was it frustrating? Did I want to give up sharing what I wanted to do with people? Oh yeah, I was tired of trying to explain something that nobody else could see. I got tired. I wanted to not talk to anybody. I wanted to just do it. And even now that comes up of like, this watch. Cause there's so much to it. Like I said, it's not just a bookstore. It's not just to be the first or it's so cool. It's like, listen, we owe Black children this. Like we owe them this. Like you're asking too many questions. You're trying to make this too complicated. We owe Black children this. We owe their parents this. We owe Black communities this, and all communities benefit from this because everybody's getting some story. Everybody's getting a story about Black folks on the news, the newspaper, the TV shows, the music, whatever the case may be. They're getting a story. It's not a good story. So you've seen pictures. We have every background on our bus because everybody's getting now a positive story, a new way to look at themselves. If you're a Black child, it's a mirror, you know, and if you're not a Black person, it's an opportunity to disrupt that negative mindset or that myth of what being Black is and get the real, you know. So like can't stop, won't stop. But trying to in the beginning, trying to share that with people, or even like people say, just leap, just do it, and you'll figure it all out. And you see those memes all the time, and people tell you that all the time. But the reality is, when you do that, people still rush you. Yeah. they don't listen to that part. They say like, "Oh, just leap and do it. You'll figure it out." But then they also rush you, or they also make you feel like you have to have it all figured out. Yeah. So it's both of those things. So sometimes that definitely. And then just life. I mean, this is during pandemic. And there were so many things personally in my life that were happening. Like, so that I want to give up, not because of the bus, but for so many other reasons, right? So when people see me out there, and it's like, I pushed through a lot to create that, because that's how much I care about. I'm about to cry here. That's how much I care about my people. Do what you do. Take what you do best and do it for your people. That's the quote. And John Henrik Clarke. And that's what I do. It's what I want for my children to do. And that's what I want them to continue to do. Because if we take what we do best and do it for everybody else, we're going to keep ending up like we ended up. Yep. So that's all I'm trying to do. You know what I mean? And no one will get in the way of that. Period. Like, that's how I feel. Yeah. Now, has life been life? Like, yeah, life's, but like, no, like, I know I'm supposed to be doing this. And I know that if I wasn't doing it, my kids would do it. They love it like I love it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
So I love that. I could see the passion in you when you were speaking that. And that's dope, because like you said, it's not that you want to be the first, or we owe it to our children. And that's why when I got my clothing line, I named it after my son. I owe it to him so he could have something. My dad died. My biological dad died when I was 3, and he didn't leave me nothing but questions. So it's like, what can I leave him? What can I leave my kids if something was to happen to me? Like, this is my own platform. Like, they could take this and run with it. It's simple. They could use Underdawg Talk. You could do all kinds of stuff with it. But when you start stuff, it's more than what you're doing. Like, people be like, oh, he podcasting as a hobby. No, this ain't no hobby.
Right. And then that's hard too, especially when you're Black, especially when things are happening all around. Like, I have to tell people, this is not a reaction to anything. Yeah. We've been living in tragedy since we've been in this since birth. Yeah. So since like before us. Our history in this country is tragedy. So this is not a reaction. This is a lifestyle. And that's what we want for Black people. Like I said earlier, we don't want to just have celebrations or reactions to news. We want this to be a lifestyle. We want to celebrating ourselves, knowing ourselves, sharing that with each other, sharing it with our children, getting our children excited enough to share it with somebody else. That's a lifestyle, and that takes time. That's why I can't do that quick stuff. Like, hey, can we do that? How we can do this? Change everything overnight. You can't, because it took y'all 200 years to brainwash us. It took us 200 years to, so much has happened over that time to get us here. It's gonna take a whole we're not gonna say here, a whole heck of a lot to get us where we need to be. So I don't like that. I don't like that. That's not like realistic.
It's the microwave. It's kind of how the younger generation is now. They want it quick. Yeah, you can get it quick, but it's just like warming up a pizza. You warm up an old pizza, you throw it in the oven, it's soggy, it tastes good. But if you put it in the oven and let it sit for a couple minutes, it's gonna taste better. Or if you cook it in a pot and you let it sit all day, it's gonna taste better than if you throw something in the microwave. Right. You gotta go through stirring it up, add a little more seasoning to it. I don't know. Okay, this time I didn't like it this way, so I need to make it this way the next time. Because with this podcasting, like you said, like when you do it and this what you do, like this is all I do. I go home, I study, I watch. I don't watch TV. I have a few shows, but I watch interviews. Oh yeah. I went home early today. My stomach was hurt. I was watching Sherry, the talk show. She had what's the Clinton's daughter's name? Chelsea Clinton. Yeah. She had her on there, and I was just watching because I'm educating myself, and that's all that you're doing for us is educating us on us. And we owe it to not just our children, but we owe it to our ancestors because they went through hell and high water just to get to a certain spot. Some of them they weren't able to read and write and do all these things. And now we're able to create our own platforms because they went through all that they went through. So we owe it to them to get it right. And we should be able to celebrate every day, not just, because somebody posted you and you so happenly went viral. We should be celebrating each other every day and not just because it's the hot thing. Because what if social media go away? Are we still going to celebrate each other? Are we going, like back in the day, you had the newspaper, or if you had an album, it wasn't like you went platinum that day. It took you some months and everything because everybody couldn't get it. So it's not about happening right now. It's about building, because you might build it and then your kids take it somewhere totally different. And then you can sit there and be like, that's why I did it.
Right.
And then they kids take it and do it.
You said something, you said about what if the platforms went away, like the social media. And that's why, learning from our ancestors, we got to have our own platforms.
Yeah.
You have to have your own platforms. People say, why are you mobile? There's many reasons, right? There's many reasons that are just like why anybody else is mobile. Then there are reasons because I'm black, right? Yeah. I can't get gentrified out of nowhere. Yeah. I can drive wherever I want.
Yeah. And then like they say, pull up. I'll pull up.
I can pull up. I can go wherever I want. But also having our own platforms, we can always celebrate each other. If we have our own newspapers like we used to have, we have our own everything. Our own platforms to share our stories and celebrate us. We'll always have them. If all social media goes away, we have many ways like we did before to celebrate each other. You know?
Yep. Like, and that's why I have the Underdawg talk, because it's not always, I think people think success is money. It's not money. Like, you're very successful at what you do, and you're a very successful person because you thought outside the box. Like, you thought outside the box, not just to help your kids. You could have just stayed at, homeschooling your kids and doing that, but you thought I can help the world. Not just the children, even in my neighborhood or even in my city, but I can help the world. And that's what success looks like. That's why I have different people that come on so we can share our stories, because there's dope people all around. Absolutely. And it doesn't have to have a dollar sign over their head or in their bank account to make them dope. So that's why, like, the platform that you create, you can do whatever the hell you want. I could cuss all day on here and I don't care what nobody got to say, because it's my stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, I can have whoever I want on here, or I can tell somebody, hell no, you can't come on my show. Just because you think, like, just because you cool in the streets, you supposed to come on here and just, no, you can't even have a conversation. Like, so it's dope to have your own, and I love that you have your own. So I usually ask like tips, and I want tips for people to help them think outside the box and do something different. Because, like, usually I'm sure when people talk to you, they talk about the store and all that, and I just wanted to have a conversation with you, and we've had a great conversation, but I don't want to get away from you being able to create something outside the box. So somebody at home, they got an idea, but they don't know what to do with it. They need 3 tips that when they listen to this episode, they can take it and they can move the needle.
Well, the one quote I said, Dr. John.
No, you can't say the quote.
I can't say that quote.
No, you gotta not say the quote, because you messing stuff up, because I always ask for a quote, and I was gonna ask for you to say that quote again. Okay, so I won't do that. So 3 things to think outside the box. Try everything. You know what I mean? I've done many things. I've tried every, that's what we don't get to do a lot as children. So I did it as an adult. Yeah. But try everything. Everything you do doesn't have to be the thing. Like, just try stuff, and you'll feel when it is it, right? So try everything. Believe in yourself. Definitely. Believe in yourself. Don't have to look for outside validation. You believe in yourself. And know your why. Like, know why you're doing something, like, and let that why be so meaningful. Like, why am I doing this? And it has to be bigger than money. It has to be bigger than, the stuff that's fleeting. It has to be something that can actually leave a legacy. You know what I mean? That for me, you know what I mean? Yeah, I was just watching a thing on podcast, and he was like giving like the steps, and he was like, monetizing is at the end. Mm-hmm. You got to have everything, because you could have started and say you got a big break right away, but you wouldn't have known what to do. You might have went the wrong way. But I do like what you said earlier, though. When you got the money, you invested in yourself. You read up. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like people that's in the street, to take it to business, not to go off of what you just said. I mean, go sideways of what you said, but you could think about it. If you can get some money off of something, you can re-up. You're supposed to reinvest. Like, I reinvested in myself when I made some money off of whatever I made money out of business. And sometimes we get the money and then we go brag and show off to people that don't really care about us. Right. But I like that you said what you said. you got the money, oh, I got this truck, or I got this bus. Mm-hmm. Nobody had to believe in it, but the people in your house. That's all that matters. Right. The people, because the people in your house gonna ride with you before anybody else. Like, all right, we're gonna do this. What you need help with, whatever. Right. And like you said, you gotta believe in yourself.
You got to.
If you don't believe in you, ain't nobody gonna believe you. If I didn't believe in myself, I promise you, wouldn't nobody have picked me up on the basketball court. I promise I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't believe in myself. So don't take that lightly when we say believe in yourself.
It doesn't mean you won't be scared.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you're scared, it's probably the best idea ever. Because if you're not scared, it's probably real extra regular in real life. But if you're scared, if you're like, oh my gosh, what if I really do this? Yeah. You definitely should do that.
Yeah.
You definitely should do that.
That's the crazy thing. But don't let that being scared stop you or fear you from getting success.
That means you on to something.
Yeah, because I've felt that, like, when you start seeing stuff happen, you're like, it's really happening.
Yeah. I mean, everything I said it has happened, and it happened faster than this is like a 3 to 5 year plan. I was like, oh, I'll have online in 3 years. It's gonna take me money, and in 5 years I'll have this was like said it 6 months later. Because you're doing something that isn't about a dollar sign. It isn't about bragging about your name or be able to say you did this or go to the family reunion and be like, yeah, I'm that person. It's you're helping people all over. It's called Black Worldschoolers. It's to help Black Worldschoolers.
I know. I'm sorry. I see the scholar. I see
people do that all the time. It's okay.
Yeah. So, but it's to help everybody. And like you said earlier, it's for people that don't look like us to learn about us. They want to be like us. They try to act like us, but they don't even know about us. Because if you really was us, like, I don't try to go on a tangent, but when y'all get pulled over, what voice y'all use? Do you use the voice of trying to be like us, or do you, hello, officer? Yes, my name is Jonathan. Yes, my name is Karen.
You get on my nerves. No, Jonathan.
We ain't gonna. So give us a quote. I already know what quote you're gonna use, but give us that quote again and tell people how they can reach you. And when is the next event? It don't have to be here. It could be wherever, but tell us when your next.
I'm gonna get a quote from this book because I forgot I had it sitting here.
Oh, hey, but scoot over a little bit so they make it. Yeah, there you
go. Because this is Louis Michaud. He was a Harlem bookseller on the Bookstore for 44 years, but he was the Underdawg who was pushing the Carter books from 7th Street to 100 and something street, selling books before anybody believed in him. And then he had the greatest bookstore in Harlem. But he would go around saying quotes. So I'm gonna give you a quote from here. Knowledge is power. You need it every hour. Get a book.
Well, I'm gonna have to get me a book. I been reading Eric Thomas' book UOU, and that's been a good read. And then I got Nipsey Hussle's book that came out after he passed. So I do try to read. I definitely do, but I'm more of a visual learner. I'm more of a YouTuber, podcast, listen type of person.
Listening to books.
Yeah,
that's all of that.
Yeah,
your podcast, the stories you're listening to right now.
I love. Like, I promise you, I've got the craziest stories from people, and it'd be dope to hear these stories. Like, I've had all kinds of people. I've had a person came back from dying. I had a person that was human trafficking. Like, it's all kinds of. But then you got success stories of people doing something different. So, oh, you didn't tell us when your next stuff and how to reach you.
Okay, so you can follow us on all social media platforms. Instagram is Black Worldschoolers _bookstore. On Facebook, Twitter, TikTok is BLKWRLD books. What else? As far as what's coming up, follow Instagram, Facebook, follow those things. But definitely follow Instagram because I post there first of where we're going to be. People book the bus for events. So some events are just for like that school or that organization, but some are open to community. So I share them on there. But we'll also be doing pop-ups at different small businesses. So all those things I post within the week of the event on our platform. I can't think straight right now of what's coming up that's open to the community, but follow us on Instagram, and you can shop online anytime, 24/7, 365 at blackworldschoolers.com.
I appreciate you. I love everything that you do, and you're definitely, a successful underdog because you changed trajectory of your family. Like, they're going to look at your family's name now different because of you. And you were able to do that because you believed in yourself and you had a why, and you understood that it wasn't just about your address, your household. It was about the the world outside your world. So thank you for that, because you're not just helping kids here in Indianapolis, you're helping kids all over the world. And keep doing what you're doing, and whatever those goals. I sometimes might ask before we get out of here, like, what's a goal for the year? But keep doing what you're doing, because you're definitely helping people all over. Yeah, what's a goal? What's one goal that you got that you hope to accomplish this year, now that things are moving light speed?
More traveling with the bus. We went out of the state for the first time last year, but there's been more calls, and I hope to reach more of our communities outside of Indianapolis, outside of Indiana. So
definitely gonna share this out to everybody, all the education world, because we definitely need it. Because I definitely, we're gonna put a disclaimer at the beginning or something. Hopefully I don't get in trouble. If I do, oh well, I got.
Well, we're gonna big up the real quick, because I've had. From the beginning, like, the educators have been ride or die. Like, there's a ton of y'all out there that are not playing, like, who are saying this is what the school's trying to do, but listen, we're gonna bring you in, and they do, and there's been probably like 5 different schools today who you probably be surprised, who are like, it's real. Yeah, they're like, okay, sometimes it's not about they don't want to do it, they don't know where to go, and so I'm making it very obvious, very plain of this is how you can do it. Here's a start. So.
I love it. So I keep saying this. I need a closing word. I hate that it sounds like church. I need to figure something out. But give us an end out word before we get out of here.
A word, like one word?
No, like a closing word. A closing, okay. Yeah, like, a benediction.
Oh Lord. Let me think. I'm gonna do a short poem by Lucille Clifton. Okay. I used to do with my kids. It's probably on the website. Listen, children, keep this in the place you have for keeping. Keep it always, always. We have never hated Black. Listen, we have been ashamed, hopeless, tired, mad, but always we've loved us. We have always loved each other, children. Always. Pass it on.
On that note, peace. One love.
That's gonna be your last episode. Poor child. Poor thing.
I'm the underdog with the heroic heart. I'm Eric Jones Jr. I have to keep pushing for my kids. If I give up, what's that leave them with? Nothing. I have to understand that it's bigger than me. That it's not about me when I wake up and go to work. It's not about me when I'm reading to educate myself. It's not about me when I'm practicing my speeches. It's not about me. It's about my family.